so first up we've got Greg Rubel. Greg is a mentor and coach with a difference. The key to personal and business success isn't out there for us to find. It is already within us. If only we could find our message to the world and then deliver that message to people who care about it, what amazing opportunities that would present for our product and service. Greg can make that connection. Business owners, leaders, and just plain curious are drawn to his passion to elevate people through transformational conversations, and in doing so, they experience their true potential to be, do, and have whatever they want. Give it up for Greg Rubel!
Did I write that?
Oh, that was so cool.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing your part of your evening with me tonight. Thanks, Nathan. See, I love these sort of conversations because it gives me a chance to have an almost one-on-one conversation with you all, because like everyone here, I'm sure I'm a small business owner too, so this gives me a chance to connect and sort of tell you about the experiences that I've had, and I'm sure they match your experiences too. What I want to talk about tonight is I want to try and create a different conversation. I want to shift the conversation that we normally get in business-oriented networking groups. And this group is probably different, but the ones that I've been involved in, they seem to follow a certain pattern. So what I want to do is I want to try and agitate some of your thinking around what it means to be able to run and have your business. So what I want to do is, in order to be able to do that, I have to be able to change your perspective. And I'm going to be a little bit confrontational, a little bit contentious, so I need to sort of ruffle a few feathers just to make that shift in your mind. So what I try and do is, what I'm hoping to help you get out of tonight is it's a little bit like playing golf somewhat. I don't play a lot of golf, but both of you get this. But the difference when you hit a ball in golf, so I'm told, is that the difference between landing on the green versus actually landing in the bunker is only the angle of the side of your head. So in many respects, what I'm hoping to give you guys tonight is a slight change in perspective that I'm hoping you might be able to take back into your business and in your life that just might reorient some thinking. And I'm hoping that that means you'll be able to achieve maybe a different trajectory in your business. So my wish for you is to actually have that conversation and take those conversations back with you into your networks, if you like. So, all right. So maybe by, what do I want to do? All right. So let me start by making quite a bold, contentious statement. The statement I want to give you is that almost everything you've learned about how to run a small business to now is probably wrong, and it's what's actually stopping you from realising your full potential. Feel the feathers off a little bit. Feels awful, doesn't it? So nearly everything you've learned about how to run a small business is probably wrong. It's what's holding you back. Now, let me just qualify that statement somewhat. I'm not suggesting everything we've learned is inherently wrong. What I'm suggesting is that I think that a lot of the advice that we do take into our businesses and our lives is the right advice, but I think it's for the wrong type of business. Also, too, I think this is all about inherent the assumptions we make about how we run a business. And coaches, like Natasha's programs are awesome. We need to keep in touch with what she delivers and other great coaches in this community too, as likewise. But I'm talking about the wisdom and the ideas that we normally take. Because I think that a lot of businesses are brought up in the premise that what they do is like a lot of other businesses. And I think everyone here is different. I think we play a different game in this room that's different from other businesses. And I think that's what means we need a different conversation. So maybe just by way of introduction, let me just briefly introduce a little bit about my background and where I come from and my thinking. I'm hoping that will just help you understand where I'm coming from. So I'm a business coach and mentor, but I'm also a life coach. And so the first question I get asked a lot is, well, what are you? Are you a business coach? Or are you a life coach? And as if to elude what I'm about to talk about tonight, the answer I always give is that, for me, they're one and the same thing. Because I think what we're playing here as people in this room is we're playing a game that we're actually selling our wisdom and our knowledge and our expertise, which is a different game than other businesses, which I call maybe purveyors of goods, where they sell produce or import goods, or they sell trinkets or whatever it is. So it's a highly transactional idea. exchanging goods for that transaction. We're different. So I want to ask a question of you folks here. Who here, just by show of hands, considers themselves a business owner? Okay, right. What if I ask the question, how many people here consider themselves an entrepreneur? Okay. Great to see a lot more hands, more than I expected, but a lot less hands. I think that's what we are. We are actually cut from a different cloth, I think we are in this room. Because we're the type of business owner that realises that it's about us. And what we're doing is we're creating change in the world through our own ambitions, through our own exertions, through our own knowledge and wisdom. That's a different story than if you are selling books or mobile phones in a transaction. And I think what's going on is that a lot of business owners take the advice, there's great advice if you're in a volume transaction list. And some of the assumptions in that world don't apply to our world. So this is a different conversation. And this goes to the heart of my earlier statement that the advice we've been using may be the wrong advice. So we're a different kind of people where we're trying to, we're not the sort of people who are satisfied with a clock in, clock off, 9 to 5 existence. And we grow out, we grow old, that's the end of it. We're looking for something different. We've gone out on our own. We've all sought our own destinies. And that's the difference. And I think this is what is at the heart of why we need to go out there and be more self-centered, if you like. So we're about growing ourselves. And when we grow our businesses, then we grow too. And that's why I think it needs a different conversation around this. So we grow things. So let's try and start with the obvious question. A lot of us here in business is that we're trying to understand how do we get more clients sooner, and also to how do we retain the existing ones that we have got. Because that's always, and we might recognise this curve, this boom and bust cycle when you're in business, that you're trying to get clients and then you're out there, you're selling your ideas and you might get some clients in, and then you go into the delivery cycle. And then you realise that you spend a lot of time delivering on your promises and there's no further work going down the pipeline. So the common business wisdom that I think a lot of small business practitioners go into, they take the common business wisdom that says, you know what, you have to differentiate your product or service in the market. And you have to find a gap for that market. You have to find a gap in the market and then you've got to find a way to fit into that market. That's what I mean about the common business wisdom. I don't think that conversation applies to people like us. So for me, what it's doing is the game a lot of small businesses are doing is we become disembodied from the very thing that we do. And I think it's a bit of a defence mechanism. It's as if like we say, here is my product, here's my service, my insurance policy or whatever it is we sell. We become disembodied from it. And what we're saying is that that is how I'm defined. And what we try to do is we try to define the characteristics and the qualities of the thing that we do. And we become disembodied from that. And I think that's because it's actually a defence mechanism. What's really going on here, I think, is that when you hear people say, oh look, I'm really good at being a personal trainer or a coach or selling insurance, but I'm not really good at selling, I'm not intuitively a good salesperson. How many times have you heard that conversation? And I think it's because this idea that what we're doing is we're not saying we really hate selling, because we know that when we go out into the world, we're going to have to sell ourselves. Because first and foremost, people buy people. They don't buy our products and services. I haven't met anyone yet who, having met me or introduced myself as a business coach, says, great, that's great. Here's my check, when can we start? Right? They have to get to know you first, so people buy people. And I think there's this notion that I'm trying to create that what we do is when we talk about our product or service, it's a protection mechanism. Because when things go wrong or doesn't go to plan, you're not getting clients, you can now blame the thing. Oh, no one buys these widgets anymore, and it's school holidays and mum's and I think it creates an excuse. So I wanted to get people to think about is that it's really about you. Another thing happens too, that when you disembody yourself from your product and service, you tend to externalise the responsibility. Oh, I need more sales, I need more people. So what I'll do is I'll get some marketing, some advertising, I'll get a team of people to ring up and ring around and cold call for me. And it's a way of pushing away that responsibility. Marketing and advertising is really important, let me tell you. But if you're not centred and aligned with that message that you're trying to deliver, then no amount of marketing is really going to make that much difference. So I don't want to see it where it push. I think we need to incorporate and embody more about who we are. Hence that we're a self-centred business.
I was going to say,
Hey?
can I add on to that? Like, that people buy what they want for themselves when they see it in us?
Exactly. So, it's really about you. When you sell mobile phones or sneakers and stuff, you can, and brands do talk about the qualities of the thing itself. But we're a different brand. So, I think what's really going on, if we're really honest with ourselves, is that it's not that we're not good salespeople, it's that for a lot of people, it's very hard is that we don't have the self-confidence or the sense of self-worth that we truly believe in what we're actually doing. So my challenge to everyone is it's about putting ourselves front and centre. We are business. That's exactly who we are. So I want to talk about the 3 M's about how I think we can change this. And this is about, again, reorganising, embodying yourself as part of the business first. So the 3 M's we talk about is the message. We have to have a message to the world. We've got to have a reason for what it is we do. We've got to understand what it is that we do. And I'm not talking about just a simple lay of view. There's some intrinsic meaning about what drew us to do what it is that we do. Once you have that clear message, then you can understand who the market is, who values that message. Because when you don't have a really powerful message, people who understand your message are drawn to you. And I think the final piece is what we call mode. So once you've got a great message, and you understand who resonates with that message, how do you deliver it? How do you share that message? That to me is the power. And then what happens here? I think once you understand your message and your market, this is where connection happens. This is the magic. We've all got this magic that we've got to share with the world. So for me, the connection happens when the message meets that market. That's the magic. Clarity. You understand your message, and you have those skills to deliver it. That creates huge clarity. Because just by getting it out there and delivering your message creates clarity for you and your customers and your clients. And I think the final piece is capability. You have that market, you understand who loves your message and you know how to deliver it, that creates huge capability. So this is a different model. This is about embodied model, everything else, but there's nothing about your product and service here, but you have to intrinsically understand it. I think this is also just to throw some ideas in, the idea of a self-centred business, if you like, is because having information at your fingertips, it used to be good enough just to know something. You could search, but everyone, I think it was the CEO of will.i.am, he said, you know what, everyone's got Google and everyone's got Wikipedia, and means that everyone's an expert in something. So it's not good enough anymore just to know something. But we have to be known for knowing something. We've got to rise above this noise. We've got to go to a higher order of communication. And that to me comes from that authenticity of being true to your message. So, getting clear about your message, what is it that you want to send? So, to me, the message is really the heart of it. And this is a journey. This is where I think coaches will recognise this about the authenticity. Because it's not just if you were, for example, a personal trainer, it's not just what's your message, I help people get fit. It's not that, it's a deeper level than that. And that's the connection. What is it really? Maybe for a personal trainer, it could be that they realise that their father died of chronic heart disease at 38. And for them, the deep message was that I want to connect with other people so that they can then enjoy the life they have the best time with their loved ones for the longest time possible. That's a message. So it's not just getting fit. So there's some intrinsic meaning there. So I think there's different levels of understanding what they're about. We've got to go to the heart of it. Talking a little bit more about the market. When you be really clear about what it is that you're about, people are drawn to that message. So again, if you say broadly, my market is, using the personal trainer example, if my market is anyone who wants to get fit, that doesn't resonate. It doesn't land on anyone because everyone at some level wants to be fit. But if you're an expert or a personal trainer who says, you know what, I help postmenopausal women 50 plus feel really comfortable in their bodies because they feel intimidated by going to the gyms. If you happen to fit that category, you're going to think that person's like just made for you. And you're like, you resonate. So it's about being real, it's about a niche if you like, but your message becomes your niche if you like. And that to me is a really powerful thing. The mode. How do we get our message out there? Again, we tend at first, we have to say, well, I've got to get a business card, I'll get the website up and running, I'll get the social media happening. Really, really powerful stuff has to be done, but it's not the first thing. To me, there's nothing better than having that one-on-one face-to-face as the ultimate form of communication. The ability to have an intimate conversation through the written word. Many people think that writing a book, I'm sure Natasha will tell you the same, that as if you're writing to thousands, you're not, you're having an intimate conversation with a reader. So it's a one-on-one experience. So we've got to be, we've got to be speakers, we have to be authors, we've got to be coaches, mentors, facilitators to help bring that message out there. And that's what carries what our business is all about. So really, just to wrap it all up, at the end of the day, people buy people. First and foremost, people buy people. This to me is at the heart of what all great business is about. Gone are the days when we used to be able to get hold of someone's pain point and squeeze every last inch of it out of them, and then we sort of go for the jugular or sell them into this parent spin. So it's all over. There's a new order in town. It's about reverence and respect. And people respect that. To be able to connect with people and to be able to create something really special and say, you know what, this is a piece of me, this is my message. And you offer it to them and you step back from that. And it's a real sense of reverence and that thing. And you can only do that when you have that clear message and you understand where it is that you're coming from. So that pretty much brings me up to where I'm at. But I just want to leave one final thought about some of my philosophy. And for me, I think we have a great opportunity, all of us, to create our own masterpiece. I reckon it might be better. I reckon it's a real obligation. Because goodness knows the world needs people to live their truth. The world needs people to step up, live their passion, to find your purpose. And my belief is that when you let that go into the world, that's the essence of living life. So I reckon if we step up and we drop our pebbles into the pool of human consciousness, we create those ripples and all the boats get lifted on.